Hi everyone, Amy here, and today I have an embossed and splattered Two-Fer project to share with you. So let's jump right in. Now I have these gorgeous colors, Worn Lipstick, Chipped Sapphire, and Uncharted Mariner are the Distress Oxide colors. I have my Distress Oxide designated blending brushes and a card panel, and here are a couple photos of the finished cards to show you the direction that we're headed. As you can see, it's a twofer because I was able to use both components of the card panel that I'm going to show you how I made. And basically, to start, it's just going to be some ink blending. I recently acquired all the re-inkers, and as you can see, these pads are pretty juicy. So I decided to give it a go with my ink blending. Now, usually when I ink blend with Distress Oxides, I tend to use the old school blending foams in the handles just because I feel like it goes down more saturated. I have, however, decided to give my blending brushes another go since these pads are pretty juicy. I will admit I forgot how strenuous this can be. I was quite tired after blending this panel, and I haven't experienced that in a while. So if you have arthritis, or I don't know, get exhausted easily, then maybe find the blending foams or another way to kind of do your blending, or maybe something more ergonomic, because this was exhausting. I'm not going to lie. I have these little finger covers that my friend Therese at Lost in Paper sent me. Super helpful, so I don't stick my fingers all over and get fingerprints all over this panel. But I basically flipped it over, and now I'm starting from the other side with the Uncharted Mariner. And I'm kind of bringing that to meet the Worn Lipstick on the other side. And where they overlap, you can see it's making this really pretty purple. Now I am pressing really hard and I'm getting a workout here, folks, so you can see it's not a great blend, but I'm just going to keep working at it, going back and forth. I forgot how much work this is. I can't get over how much work it was, but I did lose a little bit of the pink. I kind of wish I would have come out farther with the pink, because when the purple kind of took over, not only did it kind of contaminate my brush, but it kind of I don't know, change the color of the pink a little bit. So I'm trying to push the pink back over into the blue just to kind of add more of that into the design. But just kind of working back and forth. That's kind of the nature of the Distress Oxides, because they are a hybrid. They're partially dye and partially pigment, which means they kind of layer up on each other differently than a dye ink would, which really just kind of sinks into the cardstock. Now I'm coming in with the Chipped Sapphire just to add a little bit of drama on the Uncharted Mariner side, and to kind of bring in the depth and that third color. So just doing some blending back and forth. It's not the smoothest blend, and I'm okay with that because I know I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add embossing, I'm going to add splatter, and all of these things are great tools if you're not great at ink blending. So if you don't have a beautiful blend, then think splatter, think texture, think ways to kind of distract the eye, because nobody's going to notice your imperfect blending when you have these little like water droplets or splatter all over it. So I'm using some water first and letting that water reactive ink kind of do its magic. You can see I didn't even pick it up with a paper towel. I just kind of let it sit there. And now I have this white paint that I'm using as a splatter. I added a little bit of water to it to make it thinner, and a little thin brush there, and I'm just flicking right off the edge of an acrylic block just to kind of put that spatter all over the place, making a huge mess. And now I have this black watercolor. This is my little Yuli pan set. I could have also added that beautiful glitter metallic, but I thought I would just stick to the black and the white and then the water droplets on this particular panel. But I'm using my water brush pen from Arteza just to kind of activate that watercolor, and again get some right on my acrylic block. Here I realized I added some white into that, and I was like, uh-oh. So I'm looking for another brush here on my desk, and then I decided to just go back to the water brush pen. So this is a quick way, just kind of keep this stuff on your desk. That's what I do. I find if I put it away, I'll never use it. So I kind of put this little tiny pan in that little white jar kind of right in my face so that I'll remember to actually use it from time to time. So another way to do this, you could kind of use one of those fan brushes and kind of flick all over that way, but I find that the acrylic block really works for me. and I was a little impatient, so I used my heat tool. You could just let it sit and dry. And then I have this stitched heart die set. These are nested heart dies from Catherine Pooler. If they're still available, I'll link them in the video description box below. But I'm just lining this up carefully on the panel because I do want to use both components like you saw. So I ran this through off screen through my Spellbinders Platinum 6, carefully removing my mint tape from scrapbook because I don't want to tear anything. And now I have these two pieces parts. Now, because I want to emboss it all, I'm actually going to nestle it back in. You can see that cool stitched edge. I'm just going to nestle it back in and the tape on the back side so that I can load this up in my embossing folder. I have the angled mosaic. This is one of my favorite Altenew 3D embossing folders. Now, I didn't spritz it with water. I could have carefully spritzed it on the back as to not get more water on the front of the card, but I thought, meh, whatever, it's fine. So if you want a little bit more dimension or you want to make sure that the fibers are going to wrap around, then you can always spritz your cardstock. But I wasn't too worried about it in this case. And now basically I'm just going to configure my layout. I'm going to use the heart on one card base and the opening frame on the other. And these are two US A2 size 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And it's all accent opaque 120-pound cardstock that I'm working with. Now this is my sentiment book. I have baseball card pocket protector sheets. I have a ton of stuff ready to go. So this is what allows, look, those tittles were stuck on that mint tape. Trying to take a ride with me on the big hugs die, but put those back in their pocket. Now basically I'm just going to assemble. But what I was saying is my binder with my sentiments is a huge time saver. So when I get a new die, I'll kind of load that up and keep it filled so I don't have to stop and die cut out a particular sentiment if I don't want to, and it doesn't kind of slow my workflow. I do have an entire video about my binder system. I get asked about it a lot. So if I remember, I will try and link that in the video description box below. If I forget, please tell me. But that is basically all about my binder and how I fill it up and why I fill it up and all the good things. So here I'm trying to be clever and put these little foam strips on the side rather than trying to, line it up perfectly. And then I realized after I put glue on it that I had too much foam tape. They were sticking out too far. So now I'm dropping liquid glue all over my desk. Train wreck like usual, riding the struggle bus. So now I got to trim these down and make them shorter so they don't poke up the side of the sentiment strip. So come back again, add more glue, drop the sentiment again because, I'm a picture of grace. And now I finally line it up. So I've got liquid glue holding it down to the dimension on the heart. And then I have the little foam bits giving the ends of the banner even dimensions so it doesn't get crushed in shipping. Now that is a Taylor Expressions Simple Strip. I added some white iridescent sequins, and then you can see I put this whole shebang together as well, and I put another one, Your Strength is Inspiring. That's another Taylor Expressions, and that's an easy twofer for you. So if you're going to go over the trouble to ink blending and have a little workout like I did with the ink blending, then you might as well get 2 cards out of it, right? So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.